Let's celebrate female astronauts.
And their training, they did 2 days.
I sent you a few this morning. I think they're essentially like on the border of the atmosphere.
I don't know. They're crossing some new frontier for women. They're treating her like she was in Nam. Where are my babies? My babies. Like she was almost dead. Here's Katy Perry. Kisses the ground.
Katy Perry is in full meltdown mode after Hollywood ruthlessly turned on her over a string of desperate publicity stunts. From her cringe-inducing billionaire joyride to a string of painfully awkward tour performances, she's become a one-woman PR catastrophe. The same industry that once anointed her pop royalty is now severing ties and backing away at record speed.
I mean, nothing says female empowerment like getting this opportunity to go to outer space and making sure everyone can see your breasts.
Hollywood has officially canceled Katy Perry, and the downfall began with that notorious 2025 Blue Origin flight. What was hyped as a landmark moment for women in entertainment and science imploded into a spectacular PR fiasco. The kind of cultural embarrassment destined to be archived alongside Fyre Festival and Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Instead of being celebrated as a pioneer, Katy was mocked as a glittery space tourist playing dress-up in Jeff Bezos' billion-dollar rocket.
Oh my God. Their training, they did 2 days and is jetting people, to outer space for like 10 minutes, for as long as like your average YouTube video takes.
Let's be honest, she spent 10 minutes in space. 10. Barely enough time to finish a podcast episode. The capsule hit suborbital altitude, hovered briefly, then came right back down to Earth.
Their tasks, they spent the past 2 days at facilities for Blue Origin going over preparations, according to Blue Origin's Ariane Cornell. Their tasks included practicing how to get into and out of the New Shepard capsule.
There was no science, no serious mission, no training beyond staged photo ops and glossy press releases. Still, Perry spent weeks marketing herself as part of the first all-female astronaut crew, complete with tearful bell-ringing ceremonies and hollow inspirational posts on Instagram. The backlash was instant and relentless.
That Katy Perry needs to be further empowered bothers me. She's already got about $1 billion and, short of Taylor Swift, is the most famous pop star and female pop star in the world. This is why she needs empowering, because she keeps revealing her stupidity like that, and we have to boost her back up.
Within hours of the February 12, 2025 launch, the internet erupted. Ha-hat Katy Cosmonaut trended on X, with meme after meme mocking her so-called spiritual awakening in orbit. But this wasn't just about cheap laughs. Prominent media voices piled on. Megyn Kelly torched the spectacle, branding it a well-funded Instagram story in disguise, and ridiculing Katy for acting like she'd returned from Mars when she'd barely grazed the atmosphere. Kelly's rant exploded over 5 million views in 2 days, and struck a nerve with a public already fed up. Her cutting line said it all: training for what? Sitting still on a 10-minute rich people's Disney ride.
And I'm like, I hope they fake something better than that. I hope. If they're faking stuff, and they probably are faking some stuff, God, I hope they're faking stuff that's better than that.
From that moment, the tide turned fast. This wasn't harmless online teasing, it was a full-blown mainstream rejection. Hollywood insiders began to quietly cut ties. Tour sponsorships evaporated. Big-name endorsements disappeared almost overnight. What should have been a legacy-defining milestone devolved into a spectacular embarrassment. The rocket only reached 65 miles up, but Katy's reputation has been plummeting ever since.
Sensory deprivation, one sense after the other, and that's like part of the... And now it's like they had to learn how to get in and out, but they dressed it up on the one thing by saying they had to learn egress and ingress. That's astronaut talk.
Megyn Kelly was the first to truly detonate Katy's public image. She didn't just criticize, she obliterated it. Kelly mocked the idea that the mission required any real preparation, sneering that Katy needed a training to sit still and drift for a few minutes in zero gravity. Her takedown resonated with millions who were already exhausted by celebrity vanity projects. To them, this wasn't inspiring. It was tone-deaf billionaire cosplay while ordinary people struggled to make ends meet. Once Kelly voiced what everyone was thinking, the pile-on began and never stopped.
So they go up there and they float for like 10 minutes.
At least.
And then they come down.
Let's not minimize this.
No.
Desperate to salvage her image, Katy tried staging a comeback with her new album 143, reuniting with the producers who once made her unstoppable, Max Martin, Stargate, and, most controversially, Dr. Luke. That's when things truly imploded. Dr. Luke, the same producer accused by Kesha of sexual and emotional abuse, was back in her corner. Suddenly, all of Katy's empowerment slogans rang hollow.
He advised her against this album. She did it. Now, again, this album had a lot of problems, specifically the Dr. Luke of it all, the producer who was having so much accusations himself and with Kesha and everything else, and which Kesha says Katy knew. And then Katy basically was like, I don't care, I'm working with Dr. Luke again. Against all the internet and fans, it was just a dumb choice to go back to Dr. Luke, but she did it.
Joe Rogan jumped in next, using his massive podcast to pile on. He tore into Perry for trying to rebrand herself as some cosmic feminist visionary. Rogan mocked her awkward, divine feminine monologues and compared the launch to a Disneyland ride for wealthy celebrities desperate to stay relevant. His sarcasm was ruthless, and his audience ate it up. Almost overnight, Katy went from pop icon to running joke. And when both Rogan and Kelly are shredding you in public, the fallout is huge, especially in an industry where perception spreads like wildfire. But even more telling was the silence from within Hollywood itself.
Well, Pete, there's already people saying that they faked it, which I think is silly.
Well, I love those people.
But that's great.
Even her most loyal fans began drifting away. Inside the industry, nobody stepped up to defend her. No big-name artists posted support. No celebrity features materialized. No Grammy buzz. Nothing. It was as if she'd been quietly erased from the A-list overnight. And when your peers won't stand by you, it's not just a flop, it's a cancellation. And this wasn't the first warning sign.
Why did Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom break up after 9 years?
Even Orlando Bloom, the man who once stood by Katy Perry through every wild reinvention, finally threw in the towel. And not because he needed a beach vacation. After nearly 9 years on this roller coaster, Bloom reportedly couldn't stomach the secondhand embarrassment any longer. Honestly, who could blame him?
Reports are alleging it's because Orlando kept warning her about her cringeworthy space flights and desperate attempts at promoting her new album.
Watching your fiancé run around on stage, wielding an invisible lightsaber like she's fighting off a rogue HVAC unit, would make anyone reconsider their life choices. Insiders say Orlando didn't just slip away quietly, he was deeply frustrated by Katy's relentless PR spectacles, calling her antics tone-deaf, humiliating, and completely detached from reality.
It imploded after singer made embarrassing journey into space. The couple's now sparring over who will attend the wedding of Jeff and Lauren. They were already on the rocks when Perry made the widely derided 11-minute space trip, which became a PR disaster.
Apparently, the final straw wasn't even the disastrous 143 album. It was the Blue Origin fiasco. Orlando allegedly begged her not to rocket into orbit while spouting empowerment slogans cooked up by a bunch of male producers. But Katy didn't listen. She rang that ceremonial bell like she was about to captain NASA's next moon mission. Meanwhile, Orlando was at home, wondering how the woman who once ruled pop music had morphed into a caricature of a girl boss culture. Let's not forget, this is Legolas we're talking about. He fought orcs with dignity. He wasn't about to hang around while his partner stumbled through another hollow feminist rebrand co-signed by Dr. Luke.
First place. I mean, I can't deny that one, Katy, if that's true. It's difficult for her to accept. They've already spiraling, and now the wedding is another thing that they have to fight about, which apparently they are. Comes at this time when she's having, so much trouble on the internet and with her tour tickets, etc. But there's one more quote I'm looking to. Katy's not been the same person for over a year now, and Orlando has had enough.
And it wasn't just her career moves that sent him packing. Sources close to Bloom say he was worn down by constantly having to spin Katy's image, explaining why she was twerking into splits one night and promoting a billionaire space tourism gig the next. The man was busy starring in a docuseries about conquering real limits, jumping out of helicopters, climbing cliffs without ropes. Meanwhile, Katy was flailing around a stage like she was auditioning for a theme park musical. In private, Orlando allegedly confessed he missed the old Katy, the one with genuine purpose and an edge. Not this version, chasing headlines with desperate stunts.
What I'm curious about in this video is what actually happened between Katy and Orlando.
When even your own fiancé bails because your brand of empowerment looks like a tacky costume party, it says everything. Love might be blind, but apparently not blind enough for Orlando Bloom to ignore the non-stop cringe. Then came indie pop. Artist Rin Weaver, who shared a story from Coachella about Katy mocking and belittling her backstage, calling the encounter immature and mean-spirited. It didn't make front-page headlines, but for people already questioning Katy's character, it confirmed their suspicions. The empowerment persona was just another mask. Even Travie McCoy, her ex, resurfaced in the conversation. Her track, Circle the Drain, publicly shamed him for addiction struggles, a song that, in retrospect, feels less like raw honesty and more like exploitation. And if all that weren't enough, the Lifetime's tour sent everything into a final tailspin. Clips of Katy's performances flooded social media, and they were painful to watch, not because they were daring or fresh, but because she looked completely unmoored. The choreography was sloppy, the energy forced, and critics said she moved like a broken animatronic glitching mid-routine. Instead of a reinvention, it came across as pure desperation, a 40-year-old pop icon twerking in circles, trying to recapture old glory, and falling flat. The saddest part is it didn't have to end this way. If Katy had just stepped back, reflected, and evolved in a genuine way, the industry might have given her space to grow. But she didn't. She doubled down on the worst decisions, staying silent when it mattered, shouting when it didn't, aligning herself with controversial figures, brushing off real criticism, and trying to engineer a comeback out of smoke and mirrors.
It's not that far. That's not even here to San Antonio.
Let's be honest, when Joe Rogan comes after you, subtlety isn't on the menu. So when he set his sights on Katy Perry's Blue Origin flight and her whole divine feminine awakening, he lit her up on the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan didn't just critique her, he roasted her like it was amateur night at a comedy club. His audience devoured every second. He sarcastically crowned Katy a guru of Instagram feminism, which honestly sounded like a discarded line from one of her own press kits. According to Rogan, the mission wasn't about breaking barriers, it was cosplay in zero gravity. He tore into her rich people's Disney ride and shredded her soulful space narrative like it was the pitch for a doomed reality show.